Well, good morning, everybody. It's so good to be with you here again. We're at the halfway point for the year when I'm recording this message, and I always like to sort of check in with myself and see how everything's going so far. Am I on target? Am I off target? Am I uh, needing to restart some part of what I'm doing? Do I need to kick it up a notch? Do I need to back it off a little bit? What's going on with me in my life and the way I want to live it? So I thought I'd share some sort of tips, if you will, about things I check in on with myself. Maybe these are things that have sort of gone by the wayside because they're pretty much every day, and hopefully are developing into habits so we don't have to spend a whole lot of time concentrating on the effort we're making to turn them into habits, and can automatically enhance our lives each day as we go through them. So here we go. Uh, Not lightning, not rocket science, but good reminders, I think, just to check in with yourself periodically. The very first one is sort of a no-brainer for me, and that is to drink water, especially during this time of the year for me when it gets pretty hot and pretty humid around here. And it seems like everything that can swell does swell, not only on me, but, just the doors swell, the window jambs swell, all that kind of stuff. The humidity really does a number. So drinking water is something that I really focus on, and I mean water. Yeah, I drink other things as well as some of you do, but water's actually the very best thing that we can drink. Uh, Building a hydration habit by anchoring your water intake to existing daily routines, like uh, drinking a glass of water as soon as you wake up, uh, drinking a glass of water before every meal, and after using the facilities, um, carrying a reusable water bottle, and if you like water flavorings like lemon or whatever, uh, this can make it more appealing if you just don't like the no taste that most water has. Another thing that I tend to tell myself is drink when you're thirsty. If you feel like you want to drink a water, have a drink of water. Like I said, this isn't rocket science. Uh, One sign that really surprised me when I began to really focus on drinking water, because I was a soda pop drinker back in my younger days. Uh, when you don't get enough water, one of the very first signals is swelling in your hands and feet. Uh, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're getting too much water. It means your body is trying to hold on to the water that you are giving it, even though it might not be enough, and that results in swelling of your hands and feet. So that's a good tip off, a good little signal. And as for how much water you should drink, uh, I drink when I'm thirsty. I don't go for these huge amounts of water. I have had friends that actually got into trouble getting their electrolytes out of uh, order by just drinking excessive amounts of water. I know some people say estimate how much uh, taking half your weight and uh, converting that to ounces. And, they say 64 ounces is average. Well, if you weigh 200 pounds and you did that math, you will come up with needing 100 ounces of water. I don't know if that's too much for you or not. I'm not a doctor, but I certainly would be cautious to not overdo a good thing. And water is a very good thing, but like anything else, it can be overdue. Uh, the second thing that I look at, just as a pragmatic thing, this time of the year especially, is eat more vegetables. Uh, and I mean vegetables. I don't mean juices or things converted from. I don't necessarily mean things out of a can, but fresh or frozen vegetables. They're in season right now. They're about as inexpensive as they're going to be for most vegetables. And so now's the time. And you can sneak them into your meals in ways that are really flavorful. Salsa is a great way to get vegetables into your meals. Make omelets with fresh vegetables chopped up in them for breakfast. Eat more fresh salads. Uh, all kinds of ways to get more vegetables into our meals. And then, if you really must, you can blend. You can make smoothies and add vegetables to them uh, as well. And that pumps up the nutritional level of everything that you're ingesting. You can swap out in the usual things you take as snacks. There are a lot of fresh, raw vegetables that make wonderful snacks. I love carrots. I like anything that I can crunch. And I really enjoy carrots probably more than I do things like chips, simply because I like that crunch. So I swap out a lot of snacks. Uh, you know, I'm really concerned a lot of times when I look at the 100-calorie snacks, because most of them are um, carbs, and they do not do a whole lot for me nutritionally, except maybe trigger uh, a taste or a desire for something that doesn't help me eat healthy. So I tend to swap out a lot of snacks. And why does it matter? Well, filling half your plate with produce at main meals results in, believe it or not, better digestion. It helps stabilize your blood sugar to keep your appetite in check. And the high nutrient density of these vegetables protects your heart and your cardiovascular system overall. Um, so I do check that, am I taking advantage what is readily available for me? The next one is getting enough sleep. Anywhere from 6 to 9 hours of quality sleep a night is pretty much ideal. And I know a lot of you say, "Oh, I can't get that much sleep. I have to get up during the night for whatever." I understand that, but as much as you can, aim for that. That's the goal. I'm very lucky. I'm one of those people that as soon as I lay down in my bed, I begin to shut down. And often, just a few seconds after my head hits the pillow, I've gone to sleep, which uh, is such a gift to have. And I sleep at least a good 5 hours solid before I wake up because Mother Nature insists that I wake up. But some nights I sleep through the whole night and I'll get in a good solid 7 hours. Consistently meeting this target of all things helps boost your system. Believe it or not, you're more resistant to disease, and your immune system is stronger when you get enough sleep. It also helps sharpen up your focus. You can pay attention better. It lowers your risk of chronic disease like heart disease and diabetes. Sleep does really good stuff for you. It's the downtime your body needs to heal and restore and repair. Try to stick to a schedule. Pretty much go to bed and wake up roughly the same time every day. even on the weekends. Um, I know I always say I'm going to sleep in on the weekend. Well, I usually don't. I usually am up and at 'em within a half hour of my usual time. It's just what my biological clock says. Uh, Something that will help you stick to your schedule is powering down your electronics. Uh, Turn them off at least 30 minutes before bedtime. Give your body a chance to not listen for dings on your text messages or pings on your email or people calling late at night just to chitty chat because they didn't get around to it during the day. Playing games, checking emails, all that kind of stuff. Power it down. Give your body and your brain time to slow down and shut down. The room you sleep in, how is it for a restful sleep? Uh, I like my bedroom cool. I sleep better when it's cool, and I like a little cover on me. I just feel really cozy and snug as a bug when that's the bed that I climb into. I like it dark and I like it quiet. Um, A lot of people like to go to sleep with the TV playing. Well, that can be distracting. And if it's something upsetting or something exciting on the TV, you may even find yourself listening to that instead of relaxing and just letting yourself drift off into a restful sleep. Maybe depending on where your room is located, you might even need to think about uh, some type of a window covering that darkens the amount of light coming inside the room more. There are some people that happen to live in or sleep in a part of their house which is naturally very dark. And what they tend to go with is the natural rhythm of the rise and fall of the sun. They don't fool with a lot of heavy window coverings because they tend to get up in the morning and go to bed after it gets dark. Some people, especially workers, need to create that artificial environment, but you can tell that. And if you think the light that's getting into your room is disrupting you, you can hang something over the window to help darken the amount of light that's coming in. Another thing that I always check on is how much caffeine am I drinking as part of my daily intake? Uh, am I eating my biggest, heaviest meal right before bedtime? Uh, Am I having an alcoholic beverage of some time before bedtime? Are there things that I am doing that may make it more difficult for me to fall asleep? Which of these things can I alter and build into my nighttime routine uh, to make my sleep much more restful? Um, And sometimes it's just one little thing that's crept back in that you didn't realize you were doing, and you make that adjustment. Another tip for myself is limiting the amount of refined sugar that I eat. Eating less sugar is highly effective if you're trying to manage your weight or prevent a chronic condition like type 2 diabetes and just overall in general, protecting your health. Focus on cutting out added sugars from processed foods and drinks and have natural sugars that are found in abundance in things like fresh fruit. Um, Much less refining that goes on there, many fewer complications. And speaking of fruit, that's another one. Enjoy fruit. I really like fruit, but sometimes I forget to eat it. So, what I generally do in the course of the day is set out on the counter a small bowl that has the amount of fresh fruit that I'm going to target eating during the course of the day. And most fresh fruit really does not need refrigeration. So it sits out there as a reminder to me saying, okay, Barb, you haven't eaten much fruit today. Uh, Maybe you need to grab a small apple. Uh, just as you're going by the dish or tangerine or whatever, as part of your daily intake. And that way, those tend to be my snacks rather than part of my meals. It works for me. It may not work for you. The point is, do what works best for you. I find the very best way for me to enjoy fruit is to eat it fresh. When you eat them raw, they have the maximum fiber and nutrients in them. When you just like peel an orange and eat the orange pieces that come out. Uh, I like them frozen. Uh, I love putting frozen berries because fruit isn't always in season here in the mountains, in things like smoothies or in my oatmeal. I really like fresh fruit in my oatmeal, and I like oatmeal. Uh, you can even grill them as a special treat if, you're outside at the grill or, you're doing something special for dinner. A lot of fruit really enhances the rest of the meal because they tend to caramelize uh, when you are grilling them during meal preparation. And also, pairing your fruit with nuts, with the zest of the rind, with spices, with herbs and salads makes a huge, huge change and a delightful change. Another thing is to practice self-care. Um, and we use that phrase a lot, self-care, and it's basically taking care of all of me, taking intentional actions to improve your physical, your mental, and your emotional well-being. It doesn't require a massive time commitment, but it can significantly boost my mood, lower stress, and even prevent burning out. And I can build that into my routine. If I've let it slip by, I can add it back in. Uh, Mental and emotional things you can do. Uh, Select 24 hours and do a digital detox. Step away from all electronics. That's huge. Journal. You can take a few minutes to jot down thoughts or things that you're grateful for or that you enjoyed. Set boundaries. Uh, it really is completely okay to say no. Um, your physical environment. Again, that prioritizing sleep in your physical environment is critical. Rest in a cool, dark environment. Move your body through your environment. Get up and take a brisk 30-minute walk, or even just stand up and stretch. A good stretch is absolutely delicious. Spend time outdoors. If you don't even do even more than walk outside, sit in the sun, and listen to nature, you boost your serotonin levels just by that simple action. Social and recreational things that I need to be aware of are also on my checklist this time of the year. Uh, Making sure I stay connected with people who love me and who I love. I call a friend, uh, have a video chat, get together physically uh, for a chat. Maybe you could go out to lunch together or breakfast together, or maybe you could just go get a glass of iced tea together. Uh, Engage in hobbies. Uh, Take time for a creative outlet that you love. Might be something like reading, playing a video game. Maybe you like to play the piano. That's something you could do. Uh, Schedule a nothing day. Give yourself permission to relax. Well, what are you doing today, Bart? Nothing. Nothing. Yes, nothing. And I'm going to enjoy the heck out of it. Uh, Another thing is to try as best you can to avoid ultra processed foods. Try to prioritize in your eating plan whole single ingredient foods. As much as you can, avoid packaged foods with a long list of ingredients, uh, chemical preservatives, added sugars, hydrogenated oils, dyes, things you can't even understand. Um, Processed meats can often be high in sodium, saturated fats, and nitrates. Sugary beverages uh, may contain high fructose corn syrup and lack nutritional value. Packaged snacks like chips, cookies, crackers, and candy are really, really tasty, usually very low in fiber, and signal and encourage overeating. Refined carbohydrates, things like white bread, instant noodles, boxed flour pasta, can cause rapid blood sugar spikes compared to those that are made from whole grains. Uh, Frozen and ready to heat meals, frozen pizza, microwavable dinners, and pre breaded chicken tenders routinely have high amounts of sodium and very often have hidden trans fats. So be aware when you're grabbing these convenience foods that are supposed to be better for you, maybe not. So take time to check and eat whole food whenever you can. Eat balanced meals. Well, that's sort of a no-brainer. Eating a balanced meal means providing your body with the right mix of nutrients to maintain energy, support your overall health, and prevent disease. The most effective strategy of the 10 million meal plans out there is probably the plate method. And it is actually, I think, the simplest method that we can use. Everybody wants to major uh, everything down to the nano ounce. And I'm going to just state here categorically that it was not 1/4 ounce of fish that caused me to gain my weight. It was probably all the hamburgers that I that did it with all the trimmings and toppings. So keep it simple. Don't agonize. You're never going to be able, even in a lab, they can't replicate it time after time after time, exactly the nutrient content of each serving of food. There are too many variables involved. You just take a simple banana, and the index of sugar in a banana changes as the banana does nothing but sit there on the counter and get riper. Think about it. So, getting a proper mix of essential nutrients is actually pretty easy. If you fill half of your plate with fruit and vegetables, a quarter of it with protein, and a quarter of it with whole grains and starches, uh, have a small amount of fat, uh, you've got your meal down pretty good. And yeah, you can get vegetables at breakfast. You can get fruit, definitely. We tend to lock into what we've always done and think that's the only way it can be done. Well, you can combine your foods in any which way that pleases your palate and provides for your needs. Uh, you know, people tend to say, oh, well, I don't eat any fat. Well, good for you. Fats, certain fats are necessary for absorbing certain vitamins and maintaining heart health. S- Uh, that drinking of the water is essential, not just at mealtime, but throughout the day, just as limiting the amount of sugary vegetables that you tend to want to eat. So the easiest way to do this is cook at home. Know what you're putting into it because you're the one adding to the pot. Uh, you can eliminate a lot of unhealthy trans fats that are available in highly processed foods if you just cook from scratch. And I can tell you from personal experience that cooking from scratch is pretty much just as quick as using these convenience foods. Plan ahead, take time to plan a menu. Maybe you're not going to plan it for a week, but you can plan it for a day or two. If you like leftovers, build them into your plan. Some people hate leftovers. My family grew up loving them, and we still plan several meals out of one preparation. Uh, be sure to check the guidelines. There are some in-depth resources. Contact your dietitian, have discussion, check on your medication for, possible conflicts. These are all tips to help you take a more positive action. Uh, the last one that I want to share with you is to spend time outdoors. There was a recent study that the results were just published in one of the reputable health magazines that indicated that spending just 20 minutes outside every day lowers the cortisol levels, boost your serotonin levels, and reduces overall stress. Just spending time outside. I didn't say going for a run, I just said getting outside. You can encourage physical activity for yourself and your friends and your family. There are all kinds of activities that are much easier to do when you're outside. It can help you manage your weight. It can reduce the risk of chronic disease. It makes your bones and your muscles stronger. Uh, Start doing things that you enjoy. Don't go on a fitness campaign that's going to make you so sore that the next day you're not going to be able to get up out of your chair. Whatever it is that you enjoy. Maybe you like to dance. Maybe you like to shoot baskets. Maybe you like Tai Chi. Whatever. Uh, Find something you enjoy doing and do it. A simple walk uh, improves your mood and your mental health. Every time we step outside, we experience something new, whether it's a new encounter or something we have never seen before. Uh, Research shows that new experiences activate the reward system in our brain, which elevates the brain chemical dopamine and improves creative thinking. I know yesterday uh, I was out on the patio and I looked up behind me at the screen on the kitchen window and there was a beetle I had never seen before. He was gigantic. I think he could have brought me a cup of coffee. He was so big. And the neighbor kids were over, and we all just were amazed at this beetle. Well, if we had not taken the time to step outside, and believe me, we weren't doing a lot of physical activity, but we were, I was playing with little kids. We were throwing a ring and catching it and laughing and doing badly at it, but we were having a good time. So, anyway, that beetle got all of our attention, and we talked about it all afternoon. Um, there's an abundance of evidence that being outside enhances memory and cognition. One recent study of Nearly 62 million older adults found out that those who lived near some kind of a green space where they could get out in the fresh air had lower rates of hospitalization for Parkinson's and Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia. Think about that. Uh, Being outside lets you soak up some vitamin D from the sun. It's one of the best benefits of getting outside is letting the sun shine on you. Always, of course, be sure to wear a sunblock that's appropriate for you and take, normal precautions. Don't go out there and get a sunburn. But vitamin D is critical for the health of our bones, our muscles, our blood cells, and our immune system. It being outside leads to better sleep. Just exposure to the sunlight of the morning can help optimize sleep at night. Sunlight regulates the release of the hormone melatonin, which helps pace the body's circadian rhythm. And that's a fancy word for being in tune with the rise of the sun and the setting of the sun. An early morning walk, or maybe if you like to and do, riding a bike has a double benefit for sleep because it sets a healthy body clock and it helps boost your exercise routine. Uh, if going outside is not possible in the morning, uh, any time of the day is okay. It'll improve your sleep. Uh, Being outside also helps form social connections. Many of us spend our days inside alone. The tendency has grown since the COVID pandemic. However, social connections are still essential, and a sense of belonging is vital to our physical and our mental health. That was my biggest challenge during COVID, was the personal isolation. Studies show that people who feel supported have lower rates of anxiety and depression, have lower levels of obesity and diabetes, cancer, and uh, cardiovascular disease. So these are all good reasons to spend some time outside. We also know that relationships are important to good health. Spending time outdoors offers a perfect opportunity to connect with others in our community. Going outside increases the chance of social interaction. Duh. What a surprise. There are people out there, whether it be with a door attendant at your apartment complex, your next door neighbor, a stranger on the street that you just might look up at and share a smile and say, "Hello, how are you doing today?" and walk on by. Maybe a shop owner that you've stopped in to pick up something that you were in need of. Small interactions, even with strangers, are known to boost health and well being. So, with that in mind, I'm just going to leave you with my final tip, and that is to follow the 120-minute rule. In a landmark study that was done back in 2019 before the pandemic of nearly 20,000 participants, researchers found that about 2 hours a week was enough time outside uh, to improve health and have a greater sense of well-being. It's about 15 minutes a day to get outside in the fresh air. It didn't matter where the people spent those minutes. It didn't seem to matter how they spent those minutes, whether it was in one outing or several shorter ones, if it was in a city or in a rural space. It made the difference. So I guess what my best advice to you is get out and about and stay involved in your world, and it will be for you a much happier place. Get out there now, make a new friend. I'll talk to you later. Bye.